Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Let me go ahead and turn up my mic here so I can hear my own voice. There we go. I wanted to make a video today where basically I want to be clear and admit to you guys I stand corrected and I was completely wrong about Ideogram. Okay, so 4 days ago, I created a video right here called the free text-to-image AI generator called Ideogram.Ai. And the thing that made it special, compared to all different tools that I've currently used, is that it mixes the correct spelling of words most of the time with images to create the unification of one image. So you have text and image in the same creation. Pretty amazing, right? And when I created that video, a lot of people told me that you can't use it for print on demand. And of course, you guys know me. I did not read the policies because I figured, it's a free tool. How much policies can there really exist? And there were actually some policies that weren't abundantly clear or understandable, that is. And because of that, there was a lot of people telling me in the comments saying like, you can't use this, you can't use this, you can't use this. Read section, blah, blah, blah in the terms. And I went ahead and made a video about it, and I made it clear. And then when I made that video, right, it got even more views than the first one, which, views are not really my main goal, even though I love to have more views, you know what I mean? It got more views, but it got more views off of the wrong information. So I actually learned I'm making the video today, but I learned right after I posted that video that I was wrong, and I wanted to confirm. I wasn't 100% sure. I wanted to confirm, and I was looking through more information, more comments, and I found this post on Twitter, okay? So I found this post on Twitter by Ideogram, and they say, "We'd like to clarify our terms of service as follows. We do not claim to own any of the prompts that users input into our platform or any output content that users generate from their use of our platform. We do not restrict your ability to use such generated content. Such generated content is not part of the services as defined in our terms of service. However, users should carefully consider and determine whether they wish to utilize the output of images for commercial purposes and what permissions they may need from third parties in order to do so." So you might ask yourself, well, what are they talking about here? Well, what they're saying is, in their terms of service, in their policies, they have a section called services, and they're not actually referring to the image generation aspect of their services. So if we head over to Ideogram right now, Ideogram.ai, okay, the images that you can create is not referenced to what they are talking about in their services section within the terms of service. So you are actually allowed to use this from a commercial standpoint, or basically they have no holding over you. They're not going to say you can't use it or you're not allowed to use it. There's none of that here. So we actually can use this. And once again, guys, I'm not trying to make videos to garner these views and fearmonger and just get a whole bunch of views and make money off of you guys just by spreading fake information. That's completely not my goal. In fact, my goal is the opposite, to not spread fake information. And that's why I'm making this video, to come forth in the light, in the truth, and show you guys the reality, the truth. I don't want to spread fake information. Obviously, it does happen because of misunderstandings, but I think it is important to clear it up, and here I am clearing it up. So let's be clear. I was absolutely wrong in that video where I was talking about it's illegal because, I was wrong. I mean, I made a mistake, right? And so it says it right here in the policies. And to be clear, you might notice they use a word or some verbiage here that I want to go ahead and tackle. It says here, however, users should carefully consider and determine whether they wish to utilize the output of images for commercial purposes and what permissions they need. This part is the thing that's important. What permissions they need from third parties in order to do so. Now, this is interesting. You might say, what are the third parties? What are these third parties that potentially you might need to ask permission for? Well, there's two concepts of third parties in the concept of AI print on demand. when you produce an AI image, let's just say you produce an image of The Rock, okay? You can't necessarily use it. And obviously fair use comes into play because fair use does make a difference. And fair use, it refers to parody or custom creation of some sort, basically adding your input. But basically, if The Rock doesn't necessarily want you to use it, he does have grounds to stand on to stop you from using that specific image, right, of himself, okay? Now, to be clear, once again, there is a concept called fair use and certain things like that. Now, these laws, if we look at different studies and not studies, but different people who have studied these laws, they pinpoint different court cases here in the U.S. I don't know how it is overseas, but here in the U.S., where some people have won and lost in fair use cases, right? So honestly, to be 100% honest between me and you, the lines are actually pretty blurred. I mean, you have companies, multi-million dollar companies like Redbubble, like TeePublic, like, different places that don't have licensing. And speaking on licensing, I will create a video showing you guys how I received some licenses from some really big companies to be allowed to create certain merchandise. But regardless, they don't have licensing, and yet their users are uploading things that are not licensed and they make money off of. But then you have other circumstances where the same thing is happening. The only difference is the company is now suing the company Redbubble, and sometimes they win and sometimes they lose. Redbubble, I think like just last year, at one point or 1 month, I think it was October, they had over 17 lawsuits that had to do with fair use at the same time, concurrently. And some won, some lost. And so I don't think it has necessarily... I think certain laws are just blurred. That's what I think it comes down to. And you also have to remind yourself that it's open to the interpretation of the judge depending on that circumstance, that set circumstance. So there's a lot of things that come into play, but that's one of the aspects when it comes down to asking for permissions that the third party in order to use the image. Another aspect of the third party is where the image is being pulled from. And I've showed examples of this before when I was creating certain patterns with Ideogram.Ai and things like that, where you could see like on the image generation that comes out, sometimes it has that grid protection that of Redbubble's designs, or it has like a broken image of the Shutterstock logo or something like that. You would also technically, if the image comes from that area, you would have to kind of request permission based on what they're saying here. Based on this text, that's what they're saying here. I do wish it was a little more clear and more in layman's terms for Ideogram to give us like that kind of information in the terms of service. And no way am I blaming or hating on them. They're great software. I'm not throwing my victim blaming and I'm saying, I made a wrong video because they didn't give me the information correct. I'm not saying that, okay? I take full responsibility that I put out the wrong information. Point blank, period. I take full responsibility for that. But as far as the terms, I'll be 100% honest. It doesn't really come out and say you do whatever you want with the images at your own risk. It doesn't really say that, at least not from my understanding. I kind of look through the terms. I don't know why they make terms complicated like this. Maybe it gives them room or leeway in any sort of legal situation, because if things are open to interpretation, they can be argued a certain way in court. Look, I really don't know. I don't have the answers, but all I could say is, from what it's clear based on this message on the official, and this is the official, Ideogram Twitter account, okay, they have 8,200 something followers. They're not following anybody. They came out and said that specific message, which is right here, and it was posted August 31st. So I want to be clear, okay? The Ideogram software is safe for you to use from a print-on-demand standpoint in relation to Ideogram themselves. If you create an image with them and you use it for print-on-demand, they are not necessarily going to sue you, okay? They're not going to take you down. They're not going to chase you down. They're not going to cause any issues. Now, you might have issues depending on what the contents of that image is. Maybe the owner of those specific contents where it was drawn from, that might cause some issues. Probably rare situation, but possible. But yeah, from the Ideogram standpoint, I don't think you have anything to worry about. And once again, I make it very clear. First of all, I apologize. Okay, I apologize. And I take full responsibility that No, okay, this is not true, based on my understanding now. And I'm gonna go back into this video, and I'm gonna write like a big post under the video that says, "Please watch this video," which is right here, and I'll explain why it's actually allowed now. So I want to be clear on that. Something that I do want to mention in the, I guess you could say, in light of making things clear, I posted a video yesterday, which is this one, and I was kind of explaining the let me go ahead and mute the ad here. I was kind of explaining the benefit of doing things a certain way. And I was talking about how to increase your sales through variation and things like that. Multiply your sales by creating different variants. And if you look here, these are all different variation designs of the same thing. And a few people commented down below where they said, you're stealing, not that I'm stealing, but it's IP. It's intellectual property that I don't have the right to use necessarily. You see a picture of Kobe here, you see a picture of the Hulk, Goku, etc. I actually have licenses that I purchased through a sub-licensing agency that I used for some of them, and then I actually have some active licenses with certain very large companies. A good example is Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns a lot of different smaller brands, like DC Comics, for example, huge brand owned by Warner Brothers. I have a license, okay? I have a license to create these things. So I'm not recommending any sort of IP theft or creating things that you shouldn't. In fact, I think I said before in the past that you really shouldn't. You shouldn't do any kind of, thing you're not allowed to unless you have the license, right? So I didn't mention that in my last video. So a lot of people assumed, well, maybe not a lot of people because there's not that many comments, but some people assumed that I was just creating stuff that I don't own. And I do have the rights to create these. And I'll actually create a video into the future, whether it be tomorrow or whenever, where I show you guys how to acquire licenses from different brands that you're actually allowed to use. And yes, you do have to pay them. You do have to, be involved with their company, things like that. It's not free by any means. But yeah, okay. All right, guys. So I'll mention that in a future video. I don't want to overwhelm this video, and I want the topic to be clear about the whole concept of the video. All right, guys. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you accept my apology. Not that I don't think I, killed anybody here, but hopefully, guys, you accept what's going on and you see kind of the light here. And just hopefully bringing the situation to light, making it very clear and clearing the air. All right, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.